Story 1. Taking care of family at the end of life. I knew it would be difficult, but nothing prepares you for the levels of grief you experience seeing them decline slowly, and the degrading things your loved one experiences as part of general care. Story 2. Drug addiction. Wow, literally all I have to do to get my entire life straightened out is to refrain from using drugs and alcohol, and I can't even manage that. Story 3. Rebuilding someone's faith in you after a bad patch. Trust and respect are earned drop by drop over years, but can be lost by the bucket in just a day or two. And the memories last a very long time. Story 4. Doing a PhD. My body and mind will never be the same after going through such prolonged and very intense stress. I really think I will die younger because of that. I finished it, but it cracked me. Story 5. Living between chronic pain and illness, mental illness, and just genuinely having zero hobbies or enjoyment from life. Staying alive is pretty difficult. But I have nieces, nephews, and a dog who actually want me around, so I can't traumatize them by taking matters into my own hands even though I kind of want to. Story 6. Being old. Not getting older, but actually realizing you're old. All the physical things you've done suddenly become a challenge, and it's so frustrating. I hate it. I feel the same age I've always been inside, and I don't look at myself in the mirror because I've never liked how I look. But maybe I should have more often, because when I did look, I couldn't believe I was that old woman looking back. Story 7. Falling back into depression is challenging. It's hard to pull yourself back out again. Healing isn't linear. It's an upward spiral. Also, anything related to finances can be difficult to manage. Story 8. One big challenge for me is maintaining emotional resilience during a major life transition. But honestly, not even a major transition, literally with anything. So many times, I am on the verge of absolutely freaking out, and sometimes I just want to scream. It takes everything to really calm myself because I know that isn't going to solve anything. Story 9. The death of a parent, especially when having a newborn and a new job, can be immensely challenging. You're grieving and trying to manage closing your parents' estate, all while trying to prove your worth at a new job and take care of your little one. It's hard to produce milk when you're stressed, and your doctor is telling you to take it easy for the baby's sake. Yes, really easy indeed. Story 10. Pregnancy. I only found out how challenging it can be when going through it. Then I found the community on Reddit and saw how common it is to feel terrible for months. But then the people I meet in real life say, yeah, it was a little uncomfortable. It was just a bit of nausea. Absolutely not. It sucks, and more people in real life should be more open about how hard it can get. Story 11. Parenting. It's a 24/7/365 for the rest of your life job. Wonderful and amazing and so rewarding, yet so scary. I am always worried about the ways in which I might be messing up my kid. Story 12. I don't think I ever considered everyone around me to be the issue. Rather, it was more that I was unaware that I was an issue in the first place. Story 13. Dating. Like, even finding a person to ask out is a big frigging ask. Then there's the whole, come on bro, the worst thing that can happen is she'll show her true colors thing. And then, 2 days later, they tell you they want to stay friends, but their idea of friendship is to never interact with you again. And everyone keeps telling me there's more to it. How hard does it get? Story 14. Having my first child, I always thought it was impossible. I thought it would be very difficult, but then you realize that every day you learn something new and that you always come out ahead in any difficulty. Story 15. Getting my house fixed so I can live in it is a challenge. I haven't a hope, no money, no way, no knowledge, nothing. It fell apart during the water damage in the snow of 2009 and 2010. Insurance locked me out for 5 months and then didn't pay even half of the damages. Then a cowboy builder destroyed it. From there on, things went from bad to worse. In 2017, the lights went out. By 2019, I had to move to a mobile home beside it. I just don't know what to do meanwhile. Job losses have derailed any hopes of finding a way to fix it, and I still don't know what to do. I am highly allergic to dust and can't even go into it. Never mind doing most of the cleanup and clearing all that's broken. I feel so lost. Story 16. I'm a guy. When I started having sex, my girlfriend was taller and heavier than me, not even by much, 10 to 15 pounds. She tried to get on top, and she put all her weight on me. That was interesting. I got used to it eventually, but the first time was not a good time. Story 17. I never understood suicidal thoughts and how invasive they can be in your mind. It wasn't until I hit a bad spell that I wanted to die every day for a month. I had to try and live with the voices in my head telling me I'm not good enough 24/7 and that everyone would be happier without me. Then I attempted it. I failed badly. But now I fully understand the challenge of mental health, and it almost took me with it. I'm medicated now, but still, it was the toughest thing I've ever experienced. Story 18. Cleaning the oven. The moment you realize the magic gunk you sprayed on it doesn't suck itself back out of the oven, and you've already gone through 3 cloths dripping with grease. Story 19. Schizophrenia. I didn't fully accept the fact that I actually have it until much later. I've had it for 5 to 6 years now. I'm slowly learning the truth behind my delusions, and I am glad that they're untrue because, honestly, it's terrifying. Thank God. Story 20. Paying bills. I pay one, and another just pops up. Then, at the end of the month, just when I think I'm good, another month starts, and those bills I paid last month? Yes, you guessed it, I have to pay them all over again. Story 21. A long run or hike with no training beforehand leaves you physically and mentally tired, feeling defeated, all while knowing you don't have a way out since you will have to cross the distance to get back to the car anyway. Story 22. So not me, but the first time my significant other and I moved, she packed all her stuff in totes and I moved them down both flights of stairs. Art supplies, clothes, blankets, etc. all went easy. Then she packed all her books and textbooks into a single tote. Probably weighed between 150 to 200 pounds. When I tried to pick it up, the plastic just warped. She came back upstairs, and I asked her to grab that one real quick. She grunted, we both laughed, and she learned a valuable lesson about testing the weights of what she expects me to carry. If she can't pick it up, then I don't want to pick it up. Story 23. Getting divorced, I was the first among my friends, so it was all new to me. I couldn't believe all the people I had worked with over the years who were also going through it, in addition to custody battles and so forth. It gave me a whole new level of empathy. I think it made me a much better person and friend, gaining the perspective that life is hard and everyone is going through it in one way or another. Story 24. The cost of living by myself without free rent, free hydroelectricity, and internet coverage from my parents is something to consider. I cannot relate to the people who don't have these benefits. In a way, I am out of touch with individuals who have to pay for all those on a 40-hour work week. Story 25. My mom is dying, and no one believes me about the truth of the situation, as well as left to deal with the burden of the mess she left and being blamed for it all. Story 26. Death of a parent is no walk in the park, but the death of your lone remaining parent is brutal. You think, oh, I've done this before. I can make it. No, it's so much worse. I'm hoping to make it through this soon. Story 27. When I was young, I thought I was invincible. I was sassy, strong, vibrant. Then I experienced sexual assault and trauma. Because of this, every relationship I had afterward was with an abuser, be it physical, financial, or emotional. I never thought I would be the type of woman to put up with abuse. But I did. I tolerated unspeakable things from my ex. I feel like if the child in me saw into my future, I would be disappointed in my adult self. Story 28. Long-distance flight from Asia to Europe in economy class. It took me 14 hours non-stop, and I suffered so much. It was horrible. Tight and narrow seat, unpleasant seat neighbors, several crying babies, turbulences, hardcore headache. Sleeping was almost impossible. Getting out of the row was a real struggle. I hope that I will never have to experience that again. It was a work trip, not a private flight. Next time, I will try to upgrade to business class, maybe. Story 29. Belaying myself down off a cliff. I knew it would be tough because I had never done it. The idea is the first climber takes the rope to the top lead, and the last climber goes up top rope, then belays themselves back down, and the rope is pulled back to the bottom, rinse and repeat. I went through the procedure on the ground 5 times with my climbing buddy, training and understanding how to configure the rope. As I recall, there's a point where you're briefly free of the rope in a stable position as you reconfigure it to belay down, and I completely froze with a panic attack when I had to do it. It took super in the moment, breath-by-breath action to force my way through it and lower myself. I was racked with existential fear I had never encountered. It was an experience that changed my thinking about climbing since it was the opposite of a joyous challenge. I only top rope at indoor gyms now. I don't even want to do lead climbing as it's anxiety-inducing. Story 30. First trimester with twins and hyperemesis gravidarum. It never occurred to me that the beginning of pregnancy was difficult. I thought you threw up twice in the morning and then just had to wait until you had a big belly. The first trimester was brutal. It was easily the equivalent to the worst hangover of my life for 3 months. It was relentless, exhausting, crippling, and incredibly isolating. I wasn't ready to share the pregnancy with most people in my life and had to work full-time. I couldn't even keep water down. I lost 20 pounds I didn't have to lose. Most women I talk to experience the fatigue. The level of nausea and vomiting seems to be very varied. Story 31. Getting out of a toxic relationship. Learning how to enjoy life, trust people, and understand what is normal after spending too long in said toxic relationship. Story 32. Caregiving, especially for your own family, is more demanding than I ever realized. Much of your daily routines, hobbies, and resources are sacrificed and put on the back burner to care for a family member. At least, when you are a healthcare professional, you get to clock out at the end of the shift and live your life. However, being a live-in caregiver means you don't get breaks. Story 33. Having cancer and enduring the awful treatments, not to mention all the doctor visits, pokes, vomiting, blood work, and scans, I finally decided more chemotherapy simply wasn't worth it anymore. One person can only take so much bad news. Story 34. Nicotine addiction, not cigarettes, nicotine pouches. They are easy to hide, and I can use them anytime, anywhere, and it is hard to quit. I get the worst brain fog when I go without it, and I wish I never started. Story 35. When I first wanted to stop smoking Black & Milds, I thought it would be easy because it wasn't marijuana. It took a lot longer than expected just to go one day without it. I'm good now, though. Story 36. Accepting my body and dressing how I want. Not waiting to magically lose 20, 30, or 60 pounds. Life is too short not to wear the shorts. The people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Story 37. When I was younger, I could lose weight very quickly. I was very physically active and ate poorly. It was like this until I turned 50 and then the pandemic happened. Suddenly, I'm 30 pounds overweight my normal weight and nothing I do will budge it. Still physically active and I'm actually eating better and sleeping better. But I'm still overweight. These genes are frustrating. Story 38. I feel a little odd writing this after seeing all the incredibly serious answers people gave. But eating 6 saltine crackers in 60 seconds without drinking any water is way harder than you expect. The first 3 crackers are a piece of cake, but by that point, all the moisture in your mouth is gone, and those last few crackers are a slog. Story 39. Childbirth, 19 hours, hospital TV is terrible, coffee is terrible, I don't want to go in the room because of all the screaming, so I have to stay in the lobby because God forbid you go home to get a good meal, shower, and a nap. Story 40. I've always enjoyed biking. However, I grew up biking in a relatively flat area of upstate New York. The big hill there is 200 to 300 feet. However, where I live now, I've been pushing myself to do more hills. The primary hill route that I challenge myself to do on occasion, at which I'm by no means fast, is about a 700-foot climb. Every time I go up it, halfway through, I'm asking myself, why do I torture myself? Story 41. Making a roller coaster model for a science project. My group and I tried to choose a project that wasn't too hard, so we chose to do a roller coaster model. Out of all the groups, our group took the longest to finish because making the tracks turn without the coaster derailing was a lot more difficult than it seemed. Story 42. I prepared less than one should and did about a dozen 20 to 30 kilometer runs beforehand. That didn't prepare me at all for the last 10 kilometers of a 42 kilometer run. Everything hurt far worse than I expected, and I could barely move the next day. Sleeping took forever because there was no such thing as a comfortable position. The next day, it felt like I was still in it. It was borderline traumatic. My biceps, perineum, trapezius muscles, and scrotum were sore. My legs felt broken. It was a type of muscle soreness that I've never experienced before or since. Story 43. Learning a language. There's a vague idea that you need to practice a lot, but the actual amount of study and practice I had to do to be able to comfortably say things like, "I'd like a sandwich, please, thanks, have a good day," is unreal. I know some people can pick up languages really easily. Turns out I am not one of them. Story 44. Taking care of my dad and mom was something that I thought I could handle. It was so stressful. It came to a point that my mom could never be left alone because she forgot how to use the stove, oven, phone, credit cards, etc. When I researched a long-term care option for her, the nursing home was charging $9,500 a month in San Jose, California. I was forced to bring her to a third-world country where we were charged $1,600 per month for round-the-clock care. Being a primary caregiver for your parents is something I don't wish on anyone.